and welcome. Tonight, Borno State bowls again. 2 bombs go off in Ngomaria area of Maiduguri, the state capital. Two prominent northern traditional rulers, the Sultan of Sokoto and the Gwangwam of Jos, see collaborative efforts in the fight against terrorism. Old students of Unity schools seek a relocation of students in 8 Unity colleges in Nigeria's emergency states. And Russia's parliament approves President Putin's request to deploy troops in Ukraine.
On business news tonight, Vice President Namadi Sambo reaffirms government's commitment towards creating an enabling environment that would encourage private sector investment into the power sector.
We begin tonight with violence in the Borno State capital, Maiduguri, northeast Nigeria, which has once again come under attack from insurgents suspected to be members of the extremist Boko Haram sect. Reports say 2 explosions went off in a busy commercial area called Ngomaria, Maiduguri at about 6:15 p.m. today. Eyewitnesses said one of the explosive devices was loaded in a pickup van. The second exploded shortly after as people rushed to the scene of the first blast. Though no casualty figures have yet been given, but we do know that 10 people are feared dead in the explosions. This attack is coming just days after the terrorists raided federal government college in Buniyadi, Yobe State, and some villages in Adamawa State. The attack of the college, which has attracted condemnation both in Nigeria and abroad, left 59 students dead. Well, as the scourge of terrorism and communal violence grips the country, 2 prominent traditional rulers in Nigeria's northern region are asking political leaders to close ranks with traditional rulers in the fight against these unfortunate developments. The Sultan of Sokoto and the President General of the Nigeria Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs, Alhaji Saad Abubakar III, during a visit to the Gwangwam Jos, identified the challenges of extremism, terrorism, poverty, and unemployment among the youth as issues that must be tackled by all and sundry.
The Gwangwam Palace in Jos, the capital of Plateau State in Nigeria's north-central region. The Sultan of Sokoto and his entourage are actually here for the general meeting of the Alumni Association of the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies. But he makes a detour to the palace of the Gwangwam. It's a courtesy visit, but the security challenges across the country cannot be brushed aside. The Sultan is asking political and religious leaders to close ranks as issues bordering on terrorism and violence generally continues to give leaders sleepless nights.
We have one problem in this country. That is the problem of extremism and terrorism, the problem of poverty, the problem of unemployment, the problem of our school children not going to school, the problem of even the common infrastructure are not there the way they are supposed to be. These are problems that we should come together and defeat. Solve these problems, forgetting that God Almighty will preserve you. Or not forgetting that God Almighty will preserve you and ask you to walk.
The Gwangwam Jos, Jacob Gyang Buba, believes that dialogue with sincerity of purpose remains some of the options available in the quest for resolving lingering security challenges.
Let us pray together. Let us work together for the peace in Nigeria, not just in parts of Nigeria. We will attain this peace if we sit down and talk with each other openly and with sincerity of purpose. God will help us. The sad things that are happening in Nigeria are cause for concern. We cannot sit back and look at the military alone or the presidency alone. These are times that call on all of us to put aside whatever differences we have so that we come together for the peace of this country. It is sad that in a country like Nigeria, young children in school are being massacred. That is the future of Nigeria that is being massacred. It is really, really sad. We need to come together. We need to work together.
Most social commentators, as well as security experts, have insisted that traditional leaders must play a key role in the fight against violence in their communities. These two prominent traditional rulers have acknowledged this with their comments as well as advice to politicians. A good move, no doubt, but the icing on the cake will be how this proposed synergy will lead to an immediate reduction and hopefully eradication of these senseless killings that has left Nigerians mourning for a while now.
Well, in the wake of the attack on school children in Yobe State this week, the Unity Schools Alternance Association has called for the immediate closure of all the 8 federal unity colleges in the 3 states under emergency rule. The association also wants the students in various colleges transferred to unity colleges in other parts of the country so they can continue their studies. The advice was given at an emergency town hall meeting in Lagos, where the president of King's College Old Boys Association, Mr. Hakeem Bello Osage, and the chairman, National Human Rights Commission, Professor Chidi Odinkalu, urged the federal government to immediately deploy sufficient security personnel to secure all schools and children in the Northeast.
It is some days now since the attack carried out by gunmen believed to be Boko Haram Islamists that killed scores of students at the federal government college Buniyadi in Yobe State.
I went to my bed with my friend.
Listen to this emotional testimony by one of the students who survived the school attack.
The man started shooting the gun in.
Shooting everywhere.
Yeah. Then he shot me on my hand.
Your hand.
The bullet
Swap your hand.
it swabbed my hand and enter my stomach.
Your stomach.
Yeah. Then my intestine come out.
In view of this, Unity School All Students Association has organized a town hall meeting in Lagos to condemn what they consider a heinous act and crime against humanity.
We believe that an attack on a school in Yobe or a school in Borno is an attack on every school in Nigeria.
How many secondary schools or primary schools, how many soldiers can you deploy? That's a good question. And at the end of the day, those who manage our security assets have got to make judgment calls. And there's a limit to the spread of assets that they have at their disposal.
The president of King's College Old Boys Association says there is urgent need for the federal government to reach out to all groups in the country to find a lasting solution to the present crisis in the Northeast.
We would like the government to reach out to all groups in Nigeria, irrespective of ethnic group, irrespective of political party, okay, irrespective of their religion, to ensure that we have a military, political, economic, and social attack to this problem that is increasing by the day. We do not see this as a Muslim attack or a Christian attack. It's an attack by a group of terrorists.
As a way of addressing the issue also, the chairman, National Human Rights Commission, Professor Chidi Odinkalu, is asking that all presidential reports and facts on security in the Northeast be published.
There are several official reports that extensively deal with these issues. So between 2009 and 2013, there have been at least 3 very major presidential level committees that have diagnosed the situation in the Northeast, made recommendations. I don't need to reinvent the wheel, you don't. And it seems to me we need to begin to look at those documents and find out how far we can make them work.
Apart from implementing these reports, Professor Odinkalu says special attention should be given to the students who survived the attack because of what they have gone through.
We need to provide trauma care and counseling skills for those who have survived.
While the nation awaits the outcome of these solutions being preferred, the association has demanded that in the immediate, the federal government should evacuate all students, women and children to a safer environment.
We're staying with reactions to the killings in Yobe State. President of Ahmadiyya Muslim Jumat in Nigeria, Dr. Mashood Fashalam, has described the killing of 29 students at the Federal Government College, Buniyadi, by members of the Boko Haram sect as barbaric and ungodly. At a meeting organized in Abuja, Dr. Fashala appealed for religious tolerance amongst all religious groups in the country, and while attributing the spate of insecurity in some parts of the country to a lack of proper enlightenment of followers by religious leaders, he asked the federal government to also tackle issues of unemployment.
The hearts of all human beings should bleed with these killings. You just think about yourself. Suppose your own child, your own son. You see women running helter-skelter, searching for their daughters, their sons. It's barbaric. It has nothing to do with religion. It has nothing to do with civilization. But you see, many things have their causes, both immediate and deeper causes. And I feel that what religion has taught us to prevent this kind of thing is enlightenment of the people. One major enlightenment is that spirit of justice. We should educate all religious people that there's freedom of worship, freedom of belief. Because there have been people who are fanatic or extremists who are teaching people that they have right to impose their own faith on others. You have no such right. You are accountable to God alone. When you appear before God Almighty in the day of judgment, you come alone. You carry your own sin. God will not ask you to carry sin for others or disbelief of others. So you have no worry about disbelief of others. All you have is to dialogue.
In part two, after the break, honor to whom it is due. The recipients of national honors at Nigeria's landmark events, the centenary celebration, have tips for the new generation. That's coming up in a moment. Please stay with us.